Hey guys, it's Jake here with Etrailer. Today we've got a 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 Duramax, and we're going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to show you how to install the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit. When you're flat towing your Silverado behind your motorhome, you have to have a way to transfer lighting signals from the motorhome to the back of your vehicle, whether that comes from your stick-on magnetic lights, your bulb and socket. Those two methods are kind of an older method of transferring those signals. That's where diode wiring comes into play. This is my favorite way to transfer those signals because you're just using your taillights as if they are your trailer lights. It's essentially the same thing. You got to have all the same signals back here that you have on your motorhome, and our diodes are going to allow us to do that. The diodes are going to tie into our factory wiring on the back of our taillights. In order to transfer those signals, we are going to have to get a 4-pole wire from the front of our vehicle to the back to be able to get the signals from our motorhome. So it's literally just like wiring up a trailer for the taillights on it, except you're going to be using the taillights on the back of your truck instead of adding lights. Now, as far as picking out the right kit for you, there is a couple different variations of this Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit on our website. The kit that we went with today is going to be just the 4-pole wiring harness and the diodes themselves. We went with that because our Roadmaster Nighthawk already comes with our pigtail pre-installed in our tow bar, and the tow bar itself comes with the 6-pole plug. But we do have other kits on our website that are the diodes, the 4-pole harness, the plug, and the pigtail. So just pick out whichever kit is right for you. If you already have a tow bar, you already have wiring, you just got a new vehicle, then all you need to do is get a new 6-pole plug, the 4-pole, and the diodes. Now, as far as the installation goes, this install is really not too terrible. If you've got a few mechanical skills and some simple tools around your house, you should be able to get it done with no problem. I'd say probably the hardest part about it is running that 4-pole wire from the front of our vehicle all the way to the back. I was able to go through our frame rail on the inside all the way back here, which I like because it ultimately will protect the wire the most. But other than that, it's really no big deal. You got to take your taillights off. We're going to show you which wires to connect to so you don't have to do that. It is a good idea to go ahead and test them yourself just in case there is a mix-up in the manufacturing if they decide to change colors of wires for different functions. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the install. To begin our installation, we're going to take our 4-pole wiring and we're going to need to run it from the front of our vehicle to the back by the taillights. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to go through the frame rail as much as I can to get all the way back there. That way our wiring is ultimately protected inside of the frame. We've got a couple of access holes right here. We're eventually going to bring out our wiring out here so that they can use it to plug into their 6-pole. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're just using a little short piece of airline tubing. You can use a coat hanger, or if you have something that you want to fish it through there with, it just makes it a little bit easier than trying to fish the wire by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, get it back to the back, and then we'll come back and show you if there's anything different we did than just go through the frame. And we were able to get that 4-pole harness all the way from the front of our vehicle to the back, all the way through the frame. So just take your time and stitch it through the holes of the frame. There's several large ones along the way back. Just pull it through, reach through the hole with your finger, grab the wire or the fish wire, pull it out, put it back through that same hole, and just make your way all the way down the frame rail. I usually do about 2 feet at a time, get it pulled through, and then we're back here at our taillight. What we need to do is take our taillight off so that we can get our wire pulled up through and start getting our diodes connected. We'll take a T15 Torx bit on the inside here and get these 2 screws removed. We're just going to pull out on the light. Typically these will just pull straight back at you, and that's how these are designed. Here we go. Got this pulled out. This wire is very tight, so I'm going to grab actually, I could just pop it out of the holder here. It gives us a little bit more room. So what we're going to do is we'll untwist this bulb here and then pop this red tab back on our lower one. Sometimes these red tabs are pretty difficult to get gummed up with dirt and stuff. So just grab yourself a screwdriver, get that unplugged, and we'll set our taillight to the side. We'll repeat that same process on the passenger side of our vehicle. Now what we need to do is we're going to turn on our left blinker to see if our green wire is going to be our left turn signal. So we see that it is. That'll also end up being our brake signal. Now we need to find our running light signal. Now we've got our running lights on, and we'll stick our probe in here, and that is going to be our brown wire. So our stop and turn is going to be our green, and our running light's going to be our brown. And that will be the same thing on the passenger side of our vehicle. And what we need to do is, I just kind of separated out the wires that we're going to be working with, put everything back into the factory loom. We need to cut this wire in half. And I like to work with one wire at a time because, believe it or not, you can get confused and you'll end up connecting the wrong wire to the wrong diode. So if you just get one diode set done, you don't have to worry about it. So we'll get these ends of these wires twisted up. Makes it a little bit better contact. Take one of our diodes. And since this is our left blinker, we're not going to be using the diode with the yellow connector. That's going to be for our brown wire on our driver's side to go over to our passenger side, because we're going to have to tie a jumper wire in there. We'll just take our crimpers and crimp one of these spade terminal connectors onto each one of these wires. Now you'll take your diode, you'll have the two ins and the one out. The one out is going to go back to the plug side. And if you don't get a good bite with these spade terminals, just take your pliers and pinch down those two teeth, and it'll grab onto this quite a bit better. So we got that. We got the green signal done, or the left turn signal done. Now we're going to work on our brown wire, or our running lights. We'll do the same thing. Now with our brown wire, you'll want to run a second brown wire so that we can run it over to the passenger side, and you'll use that big yellow spade terminal to combine both of those into one. Now this part here is a little confusing only because the yellow wire here is going to be our jumper wire for our green wire over to our passenger side. Don't get that confused with the yellow wire that we have already connected to a spade terminal. That will be our left turn signal. We're just using it as a jumper wire. It's going to be our green wire on our other side. So now that we've got both of these made up, we know that our brown wire is our running light signal. So we'll connect our brown wire. There we go, just like that. And now I've got my other wires run over to the driver's side, or the passenger side, and we'll go ahead and get those hooked up. On our passenger side, we've got all of our connections made here. We've got our yellow wire, which is just our jumper wire for the right turn signal, which is the green wire on our 4-pole. We got it run over, and we've got our brown wire connected into its diode. And back on the driver's side, we'll take our white wire, put our ring terminal on it, and we're just going to ground it with the self-tapping screw right to the inside of this metal. Make sure you don't tighten that too hard, because what can happen is on this thinner metal, it'll strip out the metal, and then your ring terminal will just be free floating here, and that'll give you an incomplete ground. Now we're going to temporarily plug our taillights back in to test out our functioning of our diodes. To run through our basic signals, we'll start with our taillights, our left turn, brake lights, and our right turn. Now that we know our diodes are working properly, I'm just going to take our diodes, stick them together. You'll have this tape on the back side, peel that off, stick the diodes together, and then we're going to wrap these connections with electrical tape so that they don't come apart. After you know your diodes are working properly, that's going to do it for the installation. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit for flat towing vehicles is right for you in your 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500.